These are all rentals in good markets for sale right now. Can you tell which one would make you the most money? The agent is saying they all make money, but you can't trust them because new deals look good at first. Their photos are clean, you're not quite sure how to do it yet, but projections are optimistic, and of course, the agent says that demand is strong. So why not? Let's move forward and buy this asset. But I don't trust first impressions, and you shouldn't either. Before I invest in anything, land, cabins, boutique motels, I run it through 6 very specific stress tests. And if it fails one of these, it's grounds for me to walk away immediately. Now, my name is Kai Andrew, and I studied construction engineering, and I have my MBA, which has both helped me become financially free at the ripe young age of 27 years old, using real estate and disciplined investment principles. Now, before I decide on a property, I'm not trying to find deals that work in perfect conditions. I'm trying to find deals that can survive and even thrive under pressure. Because as much as we want it, life is not always so predictable. Market shift, regulation changes, competition shows up across the street from you, copies you, and buys a property literally 2 minutes away. This is all stuff that has happened to me before in the past, and that's why I'm sharing with you now. But all of this leads to the one thing every investor hates: dips in revenue. And when that happens, fragile deals break and fall apart like a fortune cookie in water. I don't know why I thought of that. But what me and my partners, what we like are durable deals, like a stone home weathering a brutal rainstorm. I'm bad at this. But unlike the fortune cookie, you can actually compound your investment when you find strong, durable assets. Mistake number 1 is the break-even occupancy test. Now, when you look at the break-even occupancy of this property versus this one, which property would you rather have in your portfolio? Well, I hope you said this one with the lower threshold. You must always ask yourself first, how many nights does this property need to book in order to survive? Not to thrive, not to cash flow, or to buy you the Bugatti or the Rolex, but to survive. If it needs 60 to 70% occupancy at peak ADR just to cover debt, cleaning, utilities, and management, it fails. Right off the bat, it fails. Unless you're loaded with money and there's another strategy that we're implementing. I want your break even closer to 30 to 40%, maybe 45 to 50%, depending on the situation. Now, why is this so important? Because it gives us a runway to make a big margin and allows us to rebound from bad months, seasons, or entire years for when things fall out of our control, which we've seen a lot in the last several years. Now, if the deal only works when everything goes right, the deal doesn't work. How do you avoid this? First, you want to list out all of your hard and soft expenses. Hard expenses are like mortgage, insurance, property taxes, stuff that are fixed. Soft are like utilities, maintenance, supplies, that type of stuff. Now, after you do this, you'll get to one large monthly number, and that's what we call your monthly nut. That's a nut that you have to take care of. You want to take that and divide it by the month's average daily rate. Now, if that's between 30 to 40%, you're in the sweet spot, you're good to go. If it's under 30%, you've got a phenomenal deal, and you should really consider moving forward on it. However, if it's at like 55, 60% plus, or even 70% plus or higher, I'd start backing away from the deal right away. Mistake number 2 is the 20% revenue drop test. Running numbers so it looks like this is terrible, but doing that and doing this is ideal. And the reason why is because you want to simulate pain. The purpose of spreadsheets and us running our underwrites and our analysis is to figure out where the pain points are. What happens if revenue drops 20%, 25%, or even 40%? Because recessions, natural disasters, competition, or regulations will inevitably occur. They will happen. I'm telling you that right now. And if that drop wipes out all of your profit or worse, creates negative cash flows, the deal is fragile. And you want to be very careful of fragile deals. But why is this so important? Because we want and our portfolios need strong assets. And strong assets assume volatility so they can grow with us as we age. You want to build a portfolio to absorb that shock or the unknowns. So how to avoid this is that you're going to want to run a full analysis and make sure that you adjust revenues by 20, I go up to even 30 or 40%, just to see where I stand and how much I need to have in cash reserves. And then I will actually even assign a percentage likelihood of that happening. And that's how I begin to analyze if the risk is worth pursuing. All right. And then the mistake and then the filter that I use to stress test number 3 is the demand magnet test. Here are 10 listings in the same market, all within minutes of each other. Which one stands out to you? If you picked these two, you'd be right. These are the number 1 and 2 in the market. Why is this important? Because just like how you quickly judge those 10 listings, guests do the same exact thing when they're about to drop several hundred or thousands of dollars. So you should really be asking, would I choose this property over 10 competitors at the same price? If the answer is a maybe, the deal as it stands fails. And this is where design and market placement and strategy really comes in and matters. This cabin here made $17,000 a year. And now that same cabin here can make between $120,000 to $140,000 a year. When you look at a property, there's a couple key things that you want to think about. Where will the signature moments be? How can you create something emotionally memorable? And how can you design the exterior and interior to immediately pop next to your competitors? Because no matter how much we click our shoes together, you cannot spreadsheet demand into existence. And if the property doesn't pull people in visually or emotionally, your pricing power basically disappears and you can't compete on pricing and you'll basically fade in the masses and the algorithm will just eat you up. So how do you avoid this? First, you want to determine your design strategy, then your market placement, and then how you are going to stand out from your biggest competitors on day 1. The stress test and filter number 4 is the platform dependency test. What do you think is better? This? Ooh, look at all that money coming in from Airbnb. Or this? Not as much money, but multiple income sources. Well, if you chose this one, you'd be right. Why? Because when it comes to investments, it's practically a universal rule that you want diversified income sources. You should be asking, how diversified is the revenue? If 90% of projected income depends on one platform, I mark that as a major risk. How come? Because algorithms shift all the time along with changing policies, and listings can get buried for the most mundane of reasons. You want a durable property that can have repeat guests, direct booking channels, or multiple demand sources like VRBO, Airbnb, Booking.com as some examples. However, if one login controls the entire income stream, I discount that valuation immediately. And how do you avoid this? You want to plan for at least 3 platforms with direct booking being at least one of them. All right, filter and stress test number 5 is the execution risk test. Have you ever had plans to make a place look like this, but when your deadline hits, the project looks more like this? Yeah, that's virtually all starting investors and even experienced ones. I still go through something similar to this. Why does this happen? It's because we can't control everything in our environment. Change orders happens, crew members get sick, other projects that they're working on hit a snag, or simply product and supplies are literally not available. There are seriously hundreds, if not thousands of decisions and reasons that can delay and push up the cost of a project and push out the deadline. So you need to ask yourself, can this actually be built and launched on time? This filter kills more deals than people realize. And that's because it comes down to one thing: lack of clarity and money. When you lack clarity at the beginning, you can end up with cheap contractors, very unclear permitting processes, complex builds in very strict counties, and time delays that eats into your peak seasons. And then of course that eats away at your cash reserves. Now, if the timeline feels fragile or dependent on everything going perfectly, like I said before, you have to assume delays and rerun the numbers. My general rule of thumb is whatever you think it's gonna cost you, double it, and however long you think it's gonna take, triple it. If you come in under that, congratulations, you did a phenomenal job. All right, filter stress test number 6 is the exit and equity test. Tell me which of these you would rather have: solid cash flows or good and easy exit in the near mid future? That was a trick question, my good friend. I hope you said both. Why? Because you need to always think about how to exit any deal. Any deal. Your final question needs to be, would another investor want to buy this? And I'm not talking as a passion project or just some sort of like some family fun compound, but as a legit asset and investment. Does your deal have legs or a unique positioning, whether it's a single family home or a boutique hotel or a campground? The most important thing is, will the perceived value be seen by others and lenders? Will it appraise well? This is how you'll get your money out of the deal. So not only will it have to appraise well, but it also needs to be lendable, or what lenders call marketable. If the only other person who would buy it is me because I like the crazy deals, then it fails. You can't offload it. You can't unload it. And you'll be stuck holding this, even if it's a good asset, you're gonna have a really hard time selling. And we see that happening a lot in this sector. Now, when you're underwriting the deal, you want to ensure that it doesn't just cash flow. You want to be making sure that you calculate how you're going to build equity and then factor in the appreciation rate over the years and then the different optional exits that you may have, both soft exits and hard exits. Soft exits are when you do a refi, hard exits are where you sell. All right, so you got the 6 mistakes that beginners don't know, and then how I filter out bad deals and the stress tests that I use. And that's because most investors, they only look for the upside, which is good, but not necessarily the correct way of looking at it. I like to look for survivability and durability because your number one job as an investor is to protect your initial capital. Then we can go make all the money that we want, but you need your capital back because the upside is optional. Downside, it's guaranteed at some point in time and we need to address it. Now, every deal that I've seen where the owner regretted it, they skipped one of these filters or they did not apply the proper stress test. But every deal that has compounded returns both for myself and for my clients passed all 6 of these tests. Now, if you want durable income and not fragile assets or cash flows, stress test your deals before the market does it for you. And if you need help, book a call with me and my team, and then that way we can either consult or coach you, or you can join my free newsletter and we can help you underwrite your deal or coach you through the entire process and even put you on the wait list for when all my new tools come out, and I'll let you play with them for free when I do a soft launch. Now go watch this video here on the 5 subtle signs that shows that your Airbnb is slowly dying. See you in the next video.